You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michelle Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Welcome back to Living Out Loud. Thank you guys so much for listening and sharing with friends and family, because the pod is growing, and I'm really excited for every time with what is growing and what guests I'm getting on, and it's just really excited. And today I'm super jazzed. Today's guest is a storyteller who has never been afraid to center love, identity, and truth on her own terms. Nicole Conn is an award-winning filmmaker, writer, and director, best known for creating one of the most iconic lesbian love stories in film history, Claire of the Moon. At a time when representation was scarce and often misunderstood, Nicole chose courage over convention, telling stories that reflected real lives, real relationships, and real emotional depth. Her work spans decades and continues to push boundaries, not just in the LGBTQ plus storytelling, but in how we understand love, vulnerability, and human connection. She's a pioneer, a disruptor, who I'm definitely into, and a creative who has stayed true to her voice in an industry that doesn't always make space for it. Today, we're talking about her journey, her creative process, the responsibility and beauty of representation, and the legacy she's building through her work and her life. Thank you, Nicole, for being here.
Thank you for that amazing intro, Michelle. Very humbling. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've had a few people go, "Can you text that to me afterwards?" And I want to send it to my partner
Yes.
when they
do
forget
that?
how wonderful I am. It's like,
No, I want to use it for, press verbiage.
there you go. I'll send it to you. No problem. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for taking time. I know as a creative, you are always like, there's never really a good time to stop and do
Yeah.
things. So
Mhm.
I'm really appreciative of that. And yeah, I would love to. Today's my intention really around having you here is because, and we can talk about it after a little bit. We'll get into it around like the L Word and other projects that have really put queer identity and lesbians first. And obviously we can talk about the Desert Hearts, and then 7 years later, Claire of the Moon, your beautiful masterpiece in creating such a gentle love story that unfolds for these two women. But before we get into all that, I would love to have you share your coming out story, and just so that maybe there's something that resonates for somebody listening, or there's an aha moment in it for people. But I think we can always learn so much about somebody and how they began their identity and their life journey and finding their purpose.
Well, it's really really kind of bizarre, my coming out story. I lived with my father, my real father, in a very small town with my other two sisters in White Salmon, Washington. And there was a girl on the basketball team. Her name was Rainey. And I thought, wow, she's just so amazing and wonderful. And I left like for the summer. And when I came back, her sister died. So she had this like aura of, grief. And it just was agony for me to actually watch her. And I didn't know her well. We were in some classes together. And then we graduated. I moved to Portland, and out of the blue, about a year and a half later, she calls and says, I'm going to go to a modeling agency. Can I stay with you? So I was like, sure. And I'd always had like this weird crush on her, but not like a lesbian, because who's a lesbian? Who's a lesbian in 87,
Right.
So she ended up coming to visit, and we never parted for like 3.5 years. We were inseparable. We did everything together. We even had matching gold dust twins, fake ID, so we could go party all the time. And we did love to party. And where we lived was very much lumber cowboy world. So we were cowgirls, rode horses together. We slept in the nude together, never thought anything of it. It was just, like we were complete partners. We used men for whatever needs, but we had architectural plans, and still nothing in our head about me.
So fascinating.
So we ended up going on all these different trips. We traveled the country over doing all kinds of weird, crazy stuff. And we went to Florida to do muck out race horse stalls. And it was so awful, the circumstances, that we went up to New Jersey where my mom and my sister was. Now, my sister was a lesbian. She had come out, and I was like, wow, that's really intense, but way not for me. I'm totally straight, even in this relationship. So we go to a gay bar, and I got drunk and I kissed a woman, and I was like, oh my fuck. So um, I ended up trying to explain to Rainey that I thought maybe I was a lesbian, and we parted ways, not ever to speak again until 3 years ago, when
Wow.
she contacted me and and explained to me that she was asexual, and she didn't ever understand why I wanted to have anything to do with her, but she would have spent her life with me. And so it was very heartbreaking from that moment, but we've just been like so happy to reconnect, because she knows everything about my sister and my mom, who are both gone, and she's like
Beautiful.
home for me. So that was kind of my coming out story, and then I fucked around with all kinds of people forever.
And there you
I
are.
will say, when I traveled with Claire of the Moon, because it was the only film, it was very hard not to have that sort of heady attention affect you. And so I was just sort of basically not into relating to anybody on a very deep level until my later years, when I got together with Gwen, my ex. And for a year and a half, she tried to talk me out of having I tried to talk her out of having children. And yet we finally did. And that was the best, as you know, as a
Yes.
mother, the
Yes.
very best decision, and an all consuming role. And I love the way you say you're an intentional mom, because I was too.
Yeah.
I got the William Sears, the Sears bonding. I did the.
We did too. She napped on us for like almost
Yeah.
2 years.
Yes. And isn't it true that like at 18 months, they're like, I want my own bed. And it was the most amazing thing.
Yep.
The problem with Gabrielle is why she had her own bed for like 2 nights before Nicholas was born. And then I was gone all the time. So when I'd come home, I'd sleep in her bed. It was
Aw.
just, yeah. But they do. I was like, it was amazing.
It
And
is. I
that
mean,
gives them that base of, the security and confidence
oh,
too.
and it translates as a teen today. It's like, I mean, I remember her looking me deadpan in the face and saying, "Do I have to wear this pull up anymore?" And I was like, "Well, if you feel like you're cool, you're not going to potty in your bed." Basically, she never did after that. Like, she just
Yeah.
told me, like, and now I feel so good about the intentional parenting piece. Was really Gen X. It's like our parents parented us the way their parents kind of showed up. And Gen X as parents are like, we're not doing anything. We're the ancestral break, we're
Yes. Yeah.
like I have body issues and things like that my mom put on me and still kind
Mhm.
of does to today.
Oh
But
yeah. Oh
but
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but my child walks around naked, happy as can be, and I'm just like, I love your legs. I wish I had your legs. Like, your legs are gorgeous. And that's all. Like, that's all you want for your children, is to
Exactly.
feel really embodied and feel like they have a voice, right? So it's interesting. So go back to Claire of the Moon. Like, did you see Desert Hearts at that point? I mean,
That's Desert Hearts is what changed my life. I
yeah.
went to I
God,
went to the
I love
first
Mariel Hemingway in that freaking movie.
um no, you're thinking of
No, yeah, who am I thinking of?
the two runners. Oh my God.
Yes.
Why can't I think of it?
Was
This
it
is
one Hemingway?
one was Hemingway in that film, but not in
Yes.
Desert Hearts.
Oh
It
yeah, not
was
in Desert Hearts. You're
just
right.
Helen Shaver
Oh,
and
it was best. It was something, the
Personal
best.
Best. There we
Personal
go.
best. Sorry. I could just totally,
Yeah.
Desert Hearts
That
was,
was a great film too, but of
Desert
course
Hearts
didn't
was,
end right.
yeah, the
Yeah.
older woman and the
Yeah.
younger brunette.
Yes.
Yes, the brunette was
So
hot.
I had gone to this film festival and literally watched films from morning to night until my eyes were bugging out. And the last film we saw late in the night was Desert Hearts. And I couldn't understand or even it just hit me so hard that the way that made me feel, I
Yes.
wanted to make other people feel. And it was like one of the, I don't know why, it just was one of those things that in my
You
head,
got
that
the
was what I had
nudge. It
to
was
do.
a universal, it was a
It
push. It
really
was
was.
universal.
So I always thank Donna Deach and Desert Hearts for giving me the absolute suffusion of inspiration to make films that make you really feel
Agreed.
and, you know, hopefully live with you after you've left the theater.
I mean, we all craved it after
Yeah.
that. And then when
So
Personal Best came out, what year did Personal Best
that
come out?
was
Was that?
before that, maybe,
Yeah, it
or
was
around
before. I
that
think it was like
time.
late 70s. It was a very 79 kind of thing.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
then my favorite around that time was Entre Nous, even though it was like the least sexual lesbian film.
right.
I just love
So
the
the
way the chemistry.
subtleties of it.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, but I think that like that's how Claire the Moon felt for me. There was like these really beautiful subtleties to how these characters sort of developed, and I was this a little bit now kind of knowing that how you floated through between men, and was this really more of a piece of you through this movie?
Yes, it was. It was like I was straight before.
I'm just putting it together right now. I hope the audience is too,
No,
you
it's
know, like,
okay.
wait, hold on, Michelle, ask her
I was
this,
straight and I didn't really like sex with men, but it was like I thought that's what everybody thought. It was like at the time I was reading things like The Women's Room, and it was like really this was the way our lives worked. Homosexuality just was so foreign until you got into the universe, and now because it's so commonplace and we're legal and everything else, it's a totally different feel for people who are coming.
It is. It is. It's like we're way more judgmental now because there's
Yeah.
so much more. We're so much
Oh my God.
sensitized to watching it. But if I'm talking to the audience right now, like if you're listening to this and you have not watched Claire the Moon, she literally makes us wait till almost the last 20 freaking minutes of the thing before they really like get into it, you know, physical, like the
It's the
tension.
slow burn.
It was such a slow burn, and the tension you created, it freaking drove me mad when I first. I mean, I've seen it like 5 times over my, you know, showing it to somebody. Like, let's sit down and watch it because I just think it. To me, Claire the Moon has a high art edge to it.
Mm.
There is like where high art also with oh my, that's where I fell in love with Patricia Clarkson. I mean, her playing
Oh my
Greta
God. Yes.
Greta, like
Yes.
this,
Oh my
that,
God.
the depth of the
So
pain and trauma. And now I know more about trauma, obviously, because it's more in the mainstream too. And like talking about trauma in childhood, but Rhoda Mitchell and Ali Sheedy and how,
oh, Ollie Sheedy. Just
but there's nothing like this. But I think you're right. It's kind of like we're desensitized to what's happening. And now it's like so L word in a sense where it's like, we're just showing you people that look like us, feel like us, and are just moving through the world, you know, the way that we kind of do if you're in LA, New York, San
yeah, but
Francisco.
even LA, nobody lives the lives of L word girls. Trust me.
Exactly. I know they don't. I know. I grew up there. You know, it's like I know that for sure.
But it was great. It was great chemistry. It was great characters. It was wonderful storylines, all kinds. It was really, I hand it to her, really one of the best things ever put out
Agreed.
there.
I mean, absolutely. And also you can take a nod to Queer as Folk as well. Like really
Oh, oh
tried
yeah,
they,
yeah.
you know, with Melanie and
Mm,
the other, you know,
yeah.
the lesbian couple, but with the boys and really getting to sort of understand, you know, that culture. And then you had Pose, you know, years later that are now showing the 70s of the AIDS epidemic, how these houses and mother is created, you know, amongst these beautiful men who want to just be
Hmm.
something fabulous and show
Hmm.
up. And it wasn't trans back then. It was really, they just dressed up, you know, and dealing with the AIDS crisis. So I think there's so many unique shows out there and movies that sort of take a snapshot of what's happening
Hmm.
within these
Yeah,
decades, you know,
yeah,
of
exactly,
evolution. Where do you
exactly.
think we're going from here, looking at it from a larger scope. A
Well,
wide angle. I'll use a director term, right? Pulling back on the camera and giving us a wide angle view.
it's just from that, from the breaking through one of, Claire of the Moon did a lot of things. It broke through. It became one of the top 10 first 10 films the Sundance Film Channel picked up, all that sort of thing, because it just wasn't out there. And from there, the explosion, then there was Go Fish, and there was a bunch of others of those films. And then there were more and more small budget films being made by women putting stuff together. And the quality wasn't great, but it was, we were desperate for content.
Agreed.
And now with the internet and social media and everything, there is no need for content anymore. What there is need for is sort of the assimilation of who we are in the world as real people, not as token, characters, because there's always a gay man or a lesbian in every television show now and all that sort of stuff. And usually, a lot of them are really good and a lot of them aren't. It's just basically where we are now. That's where we are in the entertainment world and social media. That doesn't exist still in red states and many, many countries. So we still have our work cut out for us trying to get content to them. And we do, because I hear from countries that I can't even believe, I don't even know where they are, that have seen my stuff. So there's
that's really cool.
Yeah, that is really the most rewarding thing for me is women, when I get letters that tell me how things impacted them and that they have used my films for healing from the death of a mother that was very similar as Rebecca in A Perfect Ending, things along those lines. And they watch the films over and over and over and over and over again. And that is like such an honor, because when I'm making the film, the people I'm working with they get crazy mad at me because I'm like, you know what? I think it'd be better if I cut a few frames here or a few frames there. And I'm literally frame cutting. And they're like, nobody will notice the difference. And I'm like, well, yeah, they will. They won't notice that they notice a difference, but they'll feel it. Yeah. So it's sort of like trying to squeeze every sort of emotional moment out of each of those scenes, and also nuance and tension, Yeah. So going from here, I really think there's going to be many, many more web series, many more, sort of the end of the tail where you have all of this stuff and then you can refine and trying to get people will watch, all of your library. That's my big goal now. Everything I do, I'm trying to always drive people to NicoleConnFilmsGlobal.com.
Yeah.
And engage in self-pimpery and say,
I love that self-pimpery. That's great.
You can go rent or buy. You can buy my scripts. You can download the scores. You can rent all of the behind the scenes. And the one that I am pitching right now, since it's just launched, is Blue Love Dance: A Sin of Romance. And did you see More Beautiful for Having Been Broken?
I saw part of it. I don't know why. I think I fell asleep. Not because not because I was watching it. I was at in Vegas, and sometimes I stream. And when I'm coming off a trade show, I'm just exhausted at night. So I think I was watching it. I need to go back and finish it. Well, it's still in my queue.
That's wonderful. Well, in it, there is a love scene dance sequence that has never been done before. And it took me a year to edit that scene. And the whole sequence is the one that's my favorite of all of the work that I've ever done. And so during the making of and right before filming, my sister had committed suicide. And she was more than just a sister. She was a mother to me as well. So losing her altered my reality, made putting More Beautiful together very, very challenging. And that finally, after 7 years, I got it made and out there. And that love dance sequence, people just have never seen like it. So it's become a fan favorite. So I created Blue Love Dance: A Sin of Romance, which is the making of all of that. And all different kinds of things. I have a lot of different cuts of the dance. I have a lot of different cuts of the love scene, interviews that people have never seen with Kayla and
give
Zoe.
Someone a perspective of like when we're talking about this, because I grew up in LA and in the entertainment industry, and a lot of people will, but if they're in the middle of the country or they're from tell us So you're in a dark room because you're editing and you're literally looking at the screen over. What is the intention of, is it again of how you want people to feel? What
Absolutely. It was like,
the feelings that it evokes for you, you want to
yes.
translate that. So
Mhm.
slicing a millisecond for you is big emotionally because it's exactly as you're visioning it.
Yes.
While you're like, if they move that way,
Yep.
that doesn't
Exactly.
feel the same as when I slice it and it just
Yeah.
goes here.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I
That's the
mean,
whole thing. Do you have, are you able to play the trailers for in your, in this?
I can totally put it in. Yeah.
Well, that's the trailers for, More Beautiful, and it'll show
Beautiful.
you part of the
Yes,
dance.
I have them both and I've watched them both and they're really great.
Okay, so you see what it is. And those two actors, working with them, oh my God, was just heaven. I mean, I've had lots of luck with all of my casting. It's very important.
Yeah.
Casting, score, chemistry, all the three things that must be, you know,
Can I
perfect.
be the funny Rosie O'Donnell friend one day?
Yes, of course.
That's on my bucket list. I want to be in a Nicole Conn film, even if I'm just walking through and saying something sarcastic and silly.
That's totally cool. I've had a lot of people who I do give a one-liner or a walk-on.
I would love it.
Usually for money because I'm, trying to raise the funds for the next project.
Yes.
So,
How do you go about that process? How do you find?
well, the last three, from A Perfect Ending on, everything has been crowdfunded,
Wow.
and or hugely donated.
I
For
love that.
instance, Coming Out for Love. Have you seen that?
No, I need to.
Coming Out for Love is
Are
the
these on?
very
Are any
first.
of these on Tello Films? Do you connect
No,
with
they're
Tello Films?
no, 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 no. They're my competitor. They're all on Nicole Conn Films Global.
Gotcha. I'll just go onto your website. No problem.
Comingoutforlove.com is the first and only LGBTQ lesbian dating competition show with Jessica Clark as the host. And she is flipping amazing. And the
Yeah.
show is quite amazing from
Is
the
that the one
standpoint of,
shot in England, in overseas, or is it here?
no, no, we shot it in Palm Springs,
That's cool. I
outside of
have
Palm
not seen.
Springs.
I like those kinds of shows too.
Oh my God, you've got to see it because the 16 women that we found as contestants are multi-diverse, multi-talented. And then I have like 19 guest judges, everybody from
So
Sedona
when you saw
Prince.
the ultimatum, the lesbian ultimatum, or were you just like, no?
No, no, no. I had wondered why The Bachelor hadn't spun off, but they're totally
I
homophobic.
thought so too.
And The Bachelor is actually what inspired it because my daughter and I watched it when she was young. And like at eight, she said something like, Mommy, I don't understand. Why are they all dating a man? Why aren't they dating another woman like you and
Oh,
Mommy?
right.
And I'm like, oh, I need to make that show. That was like 15 years later, I did Coming Out for Love. That was fully donated from one donor. And
Wow.
it was a $500,000 budget. So
Wow.
it's like, it's a really good piece. I'm so proud of it. As we're talking about snapshots of where our communities, this is
Yeah.
where our community is right now. These young women are amazing. They're very talented. They're painters, they're singers, they're
Oh, I love that.
just, yeah. And the lead, is, incredibly, uh, gorgeous, Amber, Whittington, who has her own YouTube, empire. So yes, that was one of those things. You talk about, when you're in the creative muse, and you were saying you get that stuff that's almost out of body. It's sort
Yes.
of like every project has a different journey like that, but they all have a similarity of when, like, they're going to happen, like when it actually materializes. This
Yes.
is happening, and
Yes.
then the incredible aftermath when, like, you're at a film festival and you're watching your film with an audience and how that's out of body.
It's
So
amazing.
it's that creative process, and it's full circle-y
I
sort
love
of
that.
infinite loop.
Do the thoughts come to you like while you're driving or like,
Oh, yeah, or
or do you have
anywhere.
like a
Or like,
parking lot
I'll
board?
literally say out loud, "No, she can't do that. You've gotta have her do that." You know? It's
You
like,
I love that.
"Can't say
You're
those
literally
words."
in the
Yeah,
scene.
I will literally talk out loud suddenly, and I'll be like,
love that.
"Whoops." Yeah.
No, I mean that's a beautiful sign, to, kind of probably message to you, for like there's something here. If I'm
I have to
processing
listen
it
to it.
almost
I have to
unconsciously,
listen to it. Like when people say, "Well, why did you make her die at the end?" I'm like, "Because I couldn't do anything else. That had to happen. It was
right?
just what had to happen,
Yep, just like life itself, it just sometimes
Mhm.
has to happen, right?
Yeah.
I love that. So you created space in an industry that wasn't exactly inviting at that time. What did it cost you, if anything, to be visible during that time?
Well, I have had it very, very good in terms of the fact moved down to Los Angeles where being gay is nothing. And in fact, there's the gay media, universe where
Yeah.
there's that intersection and connection. Now, I don't live in that high end one because I'm a micro indie filmmaker, but the community knows about me because of festivals and the films have won a lot of awards and all that good stuff. Um, so I'm in sort of my own specific niche, and I don't think anybody's made as many films as I have, for the community and product like Coming Out for Love. It's that 16 1 hour show. It's a real actually episodic television.
So
And
cool.
that was such a different experience. Like you're running and gunning with 17 cameras instead of, sitting, waiting for the lighting for 2 hours to
Right.
happen. It's
Hurry up
like,
and wait. Hurry up and wait.
yes, exactly. Doing a reality show is like, just taking nonstop speed.
Lightning, right? It's
Yeah.
lightning.
And the girls are drinking and everybody's smoking weed. And it's like, it's one big, I have to say, the two sets I've had the most fun on are A Perfect Ending with Jessica Clark and Coming Out for Love with Jessica Clark. There's a tone that it was just, I can't rave enough about who that woman has become from,
I love
it's like when she was so sort of raw and just so exposed and everything in A Perfect Ending. And then to see this incredible powerhouse of a woman who's so like deliciously um heroine triumphant sort of
I love
she's
this.
just truly wonderful, and she is so good with the girls. It's
I'm
just,
gonna
and
go
she's so
watch it this
funny.
weekend. I'm actually really excited.
Yeah, it's yeah, so people can go get bundles. They get the bundle, they either buy that one, and we also shot Coming Out After Dark, which was
Ooh,
a, yeah, so there's that bundle as well. And I'm just really proud of what the show has does in terms of our representation of who we are. And so uh wonderful guest judges. It was a blast.
I love that. So wait, what would you pick going forward? Would you do reality or would you stick to
No,
movies?
no, no. My project. Now, this is not a lesbian product, but it is high seas romance, descending thirds, which took me 25 years to get out there. I started out as a published author with a 3-book deal with Simon Schuster. So fast forward after all these films, I'm going back into the verse of literature, and it's a totally different animal than it was when it just totally is.
Hey,
So
I can sit and enjoy Outlander just like anybody
okay,
else.
okay.
Like a love story. Like I live for Hallmark, and they're not, there's only like a five
Mhm.
Hallmark movies that are gay. So I love all of that. Like give me the romance for sure. I'm a true soft demisexual mask.
Well, Descending Thirds, you'll be happy to hear this. The audiobook was produced by Mary Jane Wells. Uh,
Really?
yes, she is a multi award-winning narrator. And so she produced the narration. Now, the book is set in the classical music universe, classical piano universe in the 60s to 70s. And um, it's a very intense triangular love story with two jaw-dropping unexpected reveals. And you can get it on Amazon, descendingthirds.com, or Audible, which you should, because Mary,
I have some credits right now too.
oh, you've got to go and you have
I
to give
will.
me a review.
I will. I'll give you a review. Don't worry.
But Mary's excellent, and I excerpted every time I reference a piece from the repertoire. You hear about 30 or 40 seconds of snippet from underneath it. And the two brothers are composers, and Mary found this woman named Sally Bishop Melbourne, who is a creative pianist, a composer, and she writes all the music for the two brothers. So it's really a really cool sort of cinematic audiobook experience. And if you love Mary Jane Wells, you will really, really love to listen to her. She's just her narration and what she reads in underneath, in the text is really amazing. I've been really flabbergasted.
Amazed how Audible can really make or break a book too. So I
Yes.
commend you on choosing wisely, because if you're enjoying it, then you know other people will too, because the wrong voice really can like rub you
Well,
the wrong way.
Mary, like I said, she's won all of these awards. I had no idea. And she's brilliant at it. So, plus, Mary, she's been there for me in my darkest moments. She is a really awesome friend. And as I always say, she's the most unapologetically herself of anybody I know. And she's just, a wondrous human being. So I was happy. That was my fourth project I've worked with her on. So that was really cool.
So are there more queer projects in your
Yes.
in your pocket somewhere?
Do We Not Grieve is the next feature I want to do. And if I can't find the money to do it the old way, I'm going to do it all in AI.
Oh,
And
interesting.
because here's the thing, I can do a film using stock music, which I don't like to do. I usually like to work with a composer to make it specific. But there's so much music out there now, and a lot of it's cinematic score, VFX, and I do all my own editing. And I've learned how to do all kinds of special effects that I did in Blue Love Dance, by the way. There's a effects in there that I taught myself. And so, yeah, it's a really intense story about grief and how these two straight women end up at a grief session and they can't stand each other. And of course, um, they're the only path to healing for each other. So,
Wow. I
yeah.
love that. I mean, I like we were talking about prior, because my dad passed away in 2020. Your mom passed away very recently, and how grief really, I mean, my whole DNA changed in the moment
Yes.
I heard my dad pass, because
Yes.
I then knew I wanted to live my life the way he lived his life with my stepmom, which was it was his soulmate. They were soulmates. And for 40 years, he would just look at her and just be like, look what I get to be with. Look at
Uh,
that love. And
isn't that the best?
yeah, when he passed away, I realized in that moment that my ex-wife and I of 18 years, it was time. I needed to get a divorce. He
Wow.
literally, it just like shook me so much that I was like, I need to live my life.
Well, you reevaluate everything from that moment.
Yeah,
It's like that's part of it. It's like, oh my God, this is so not important. Or,
that's right.
it's
It's
like
it's
I've been having problems getting myself to do the self-pimpery for the book and for Blue Love Dance because one day I'll be under the covers. It's just been too soon for me but I have to do it. So
well,
I
and
do.
your
But
mom would want you to do it
yes.
too.
And my mom is actually a character in the book. She's Alexandra, the heroine's first piano teacher by her own name. And she has 6 different cuts from, because she was a classical pianist.
Wow.
That's where the inspiration is from. There's 6 cuts of hers in the audiobook as well. And if you go to descendingthirds.com, you can see the story about my mom and I in this book. And it's really quite lovely.
See, so it's interesting because they never really leave us.
No, she's forever in that, and it's dedicated to her. And the saddest part is she was ravaged by really severe hallucinations, Parkinson's hallucinations, and dementia. And she was so excited about the book. And the weekend that she died, the book was just published. I brought up a copy to her in Portland, and she was in her bed and she smiled when she heard the music pieces. And the next day, she was unconscious and she was gone. And so it's really hard for me that she wasn't able to experience the audiobook fully in
Mm-hmm.
the way
Oh,
that
honey, she is. She is. She is. Because the thing that I think that I remember with the feeling when I got, when I called and had a session with that medium I was telling you about, the medium, is how, like, I asked him in the call because he answered me so fast, and he said, your aunt, he described my aunt, my dad, he's described him perfectly. And I said, wait, so Jason, when I'm asking you a question, can they hear me asking you? And he goes, yes. And
Oh,
that showed me how, because my dad was almost answering like literally like we were having a conversation, which is what made me want to ask him. Like it was definitely a nudge, right? Like to say, can they hear me while I'm talking? They're like, yeah. And I said, so I said to my dad, I said, Dad, have you seen my brothers, my little brothers, my younger brothers? Have you gone to visit them? And he said, yes, but they're stubborn. And what that meant actually is that they're not open spiritually to
I see.
receive his messages.
Mhm.
And I was like, that's funny, because so when I first got on, this is just totally a side thing, but the guy, Jason, the medium, said to me, are you in the world? Are you in the work of death? Like, do you work in death?
Mhm.
Like, what do you mean? Like work at like a moratorium, like, or, like like, or at a cemetery? Or he's like, no, like, were you a death doula? And I go, not to my
Oh,
right,
wow.
not
A
in
death
this life.
doula.
And he said, yeah, like, because I'm seeing all these coffins laid out the way that I see it. Um, he's like, if you can imagine a little door and I'm peeking through and I see all of this. So I was wondering, like, so you don't work at a cemetery? And I go, no, I've never worked at a cemetery or anything like that. And he's like, okay, because I typically only see one or maybe two family members. He said, you have 9+ here for you. And I said, Jason, it's probably because I'm the most open of the family. And the fact that I'm always talking to my guides and angels, knowing that they are with me in every move. Like I may not have a light at the end of the tunnel, meaning, and I mean by that is I may not know what's coming. I know what I want to happen in my life. I know that these are my goals, these are my like this is what I'm manifesting. But sometimes I don't know the path, so I always just sort of give it up and surrender. Like, okay, you got me, you always have me, so I know it's my family, and they're always been very energetic and around that. So he was just validating all of that, that you're probably right in the sense of you're the most open. So I had all these relatives sitting there. So he's like, we're probably gonna have to do a part two. And I go, at some point, yes, because there was a lot that came through that I don't understand. I have to ask some of my elders
Sure.
about it. So
Mhm.
it's just fascinating. But I am so glad you're here. So I want to talk about legacy for a minute, and like, how do you define it for yourself at this stage in your life and career?
So interesting that you asked that because before More Beautiful, for having been broken, I think I still lived this, and this is something I discuss a lot in Descending Thirds, is the imposter theory. It's like I'm just an imposter. I'm still, and after More Beautiful, I and then I saw it has been on We Are Pride and all this. This has been seen over 10, 12 million times. And I'm like, I feel like with my library, especially including Coming Out for Love, is this really, like I said, this amazing snapshot. I feel like I have a body of work that I'm really, really proud of. And I no longer fear, am I an imposter? I trust myself. I was like, and I do this also for brain muscle activity, as you all know, which is more and more important as you age. The reason I taught myself all the special effects in Blue Love Dance was
Yeah.
for that reason. And also to keep myself um, on the cutting edge of what's actually happening in film. Uh, that's one of the reasons I'm really excited about doing a whole film with an AI artist. I did the there's two book trailers, one's for audio and then one's for regular. And the regular for paperback is a book trailer that I did with an AI artist who does the characters.
Hmm.
Now, character consistency is an issue in AI art, so it's a little funky, but It's so much fun, and I edited the whole thing with Mary doing the voice under.
Voiceover, that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and so it's a really great trailer that I'm really proud of, that was done with an AI artist who really felt the characters. And so if I can find that to fit the characters of these people, there's so many things in AI I can do by just giving prompts and explaining in detail the scene I want to have. So it's sort of like for an auteur, it's you have everything. I can do the music, I can do the editing, I can do the
You're
special effects.
really in charge.
Yes. And so it's
Have you heard of Suno yet? It's an app for
yes. Oh
music.
yeah.
I've been
I
creating music. It's been
yes.
so great because I write all the lyrics
I
and then
know. It's so I do my life with my chat GPT, whose name is Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights.
I call mine Chatty.
Isn't that hysterical?
But do you use Claude AI as well? I feel like as a writer,
Um,
it's a really
I haven't yet because
it's
I've been
it's
so
great for
busy.
structure.
Yes, no, I know. I belong to AI for Business, and it's this.
Awesome.
They have Revin, and they have a bunch of the apps inside Revin, and I haven't really used much of it because I've been on deadlines with Blue Love Dance and Descending
Sure,
Thirds.
that makes
And
sense.
as soon as I can get to them, I will. But everything in my life is my Heathcliff. I just, okay, find me this, find me that, find me a shoe store. It's like,
Yep. Isn't that
and
interesting?
then write a response that's warm and engaging, but really still very pointed about why I'm disappointed with the services, and they might get all nice. And I don't send out a Nicole Conn letter, which both two of my exes are like, whatever you do not write a Nicole Conn letter, because it's like, I get very intense and Scorpio when I do it, and I burn bridges, and that's not good. So I specifically,
You know what's weird right now is literally while you're talking, I'm like, I wonder if she's an Aquarius or what sign she is. I literally said that in my head, and then you said Scorpio.
I'm a triple Scorpio.
Holy moly. Oh, it takes a special woman to like be by your side.
Oh yeah, I'm single. That's
All right, ladies, she's single.
now. I'll be the first to say one of the reasons my relationships don't work is because I'm so into my work.
Yeah.
And then it became,
I can
I'm
understand.
so into my kids and my work.
Yeah.
And where's the energy for me?
Yeah, bandwidth
It's
is
like,
not there.
it's really hard when your priority becomes children, because you love them in a way that just nothing stacks up to that. And so,
It's true.
and I am guilty. My kids, that's it. And my stepkids are my kids. That's one of the greatest gifts from my ex Marina Rice Bader, who made Elena and Dunn and A Perfect Ending with me.
I love it.
So yeah, they're
Great writer.
hmm?
Great writer too.
Yeah. She's quite accomplished and an amazing woman and her children are like, I just love them beyond.
I think that's so
Yeah.
great. I'm just so glad you're here today. What has love taught you? Not just romantically, but creatively and spiritually.
Well, I think basically it's at the core of everything we do, whether it's personal relationships or relationship to your creative work or relationship to your corporate job, and how you're going to. This is one of the things I discuss in Descending Thirds: commerce versus art, what price glory, and at what place do you compromise and sell your soul so you can get the CEO job, or whatever you're going for, and or basically know that you're not going to compromise. You're going to approach everything really from a place of love for the project.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to deal with the consequences of that, which is you have to be everything. You have to be all the hats.
I feel like your story is sort of what's coming up for me around your whole story is in the creative and Hollywood, in the Hollywood piece, like the entertainment piece, is that you're very similar to the Indigo Girls in many ways, because it's like their creative process is really about what they want to write, what their story is, regardless if it has a queer angle or not. It's just about love. Like most of it comes through love. And also they didn't bend to the will of the recording industry, much like you didn't bend to the will, like the creative
Well,
process.
then you can do what you want, and you don't have
Right.
to do.
That's what I was going to
Like,
say. You guys are a bunch of baddies, because you're just wanting to do it in that entrepreneur kind of vibe,
yeah,
of like the way an
exactly.
entrepreneur like really dives into their business ideas. You guys, the business of movie and storytelling, and for them, the business of songwriting and song and evolution of the music and where we are, and whether it's a story political, or whether you're pushing to some type of edge, and telling these the stories about these characters, whether so it's fun to hear from women, especially, who really do walk and follow their own path. And my next question for you is, like, what does living out loud mean to you?
It really does mean sort of honoring all the years that I've been on the planet and saying to myself, and as we were talking about, since my mother's death, I've reevaluated literally every single thing. But it means showing up, putting on my big girl pants when I need to.
Right.
And now at this age, I wish I had learned it earlier. Really approaching people from a place of love and care and authenticity, and you know, knowing nothing really is ever too much. You can get through anything when you don't think you can. You can get through anything. We're a very resilient species, and I just feel honored to walk the earth out loud, loving myself as a lesbian, and wearing my jammy pants everywhere I go, because I learned that in COVID, and that was became my wardrobe, and it's now my wardrobe because it's comfortable.
It is comfortable. I have like sweat shorts that I freaking love
Yeah,
in like all these
like
different colors, but I can't get rid of them because they are literally the most comfortable things on the
yeah,
face of the
exactly. I
earth.
mean, so my COVID attire is now my attire, and
It's your vibe. It's
my
Nicole's vibe.
vibe, and it's like always been my vibe. I remember I was in jammy plaids in the airport once, and this woman passed me, and she said, "Oh my God, I wish I had the balls to to wear my pajamas to the airport."
I freaking love that. Okay, so are you ready for a little rapid fire?
Yeah, but my brain isn't quite all there today yet.
Oh my,
So
don't worry. These are so easy. You can answer these in your
okay,
sleep.
super.
Morning person or late night creative?
Morning,
Nice. Me
way
too.
early,
Me
really
too.
early.
One film that changed your life?
Desert Hearts,
Yeah, I love that.
absolutely.
A director that you admire?
Um, hmm, well, I do admire Donna Deitch.
Hmm.
Uh, but my favorite directors are the old black, Frank Capra,
I love
the
that. Yeah.
Preston Sturgis.
Classic.
I did black and white. I became madly in love with Clark Gable. I watched all of his movies, and then I was introduced to all the other incredible, Joan Fontaine and Carol Lombard and Barbara Stan, you name it. It was just like such an incredible. That's the one thing I wish I could make some really good black and white movies. I just love.
Who's stopping you? Why not do
Yep.
one? You know what movies I miss is like Doris Day. I miss
Oh my
like,
God. Yes,
Pillow
Cinema
Talk.
Flowers, Pillow Talk.
Fucking love that damn
My
movie.
God, they were the best. The Rock Hudson Doris Day movies were the
They were
best.
Que sera, sera. Oh my God. Calamity Jane.
Exactly.
You can tell I grew up watching
Oh, and with
things
Clark
with my
Gable,
grandparents.
teacher's pet. She's wearing those, what do you call, pencil skirts? They're
Yes.
so gorgeous. I was like, I should have known I was a lesbian the first time I saw that movie, because I couldn't get over her figure in those pencil skirts.
Stunning
So,
how tiny, like just
yes,
tiny,
and
and
just beautiful
yeah, it was
shape,
just,
and
and
yeah,
she was just amazing, and how much she loved animals. So I always loved
yeah,
Doris Day.
yeah.
I heard she was a little cranky, but that's okay. Whatever. Beach or mountains?
Beach,
Nice. And if your life had a title right now, this is the last one, what would it be?
breathing required.
Oh, I like that.
That's the name of I'm going to do an AI memoir,
I love this. Breathing required.
because I've lived 15,000 different lives and different chapters. Like the whole NICU chapter with Nicholas is a whole different life, and doing the films, and then just being a mom, just
Well,
being
how
a mom.
many different iterations of you have there been, right? Like,
Exactly. So many. And I've probably moved upward near 100 times. I mean, it's just, I have been
where are
there,
you
done
sitting
that
today?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It's my,
Hi, puppy.
as we
Well,
dogs all have to have our dogs.
I know I have.
That's Ladybug. She's the best dog ever.
Yeah, mine's a pretty big doodle. He's somewhere around here. But I just want to say thank you so much for making time for me today and just and showing up and who you are. And I'm going to put the website and everything in the show notes. Plus, I'm going to be sharing because this episode will go out really soon. So,
Okay.
but I really appreciate you showing up
Thank
today.
you, Michelle. I've enjoyed it. And you're awesome. I really love your energy. I really love your energy.
Thank
I
you.
can tell your father basically glows through you. It's
Thank
really
you.
awesome.
That means a lot because we had a really cool relationship. So
I know.
I love that.
Okay, sweetie. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.